Menjalani hari di tengah pandemi. Hidup dalam keterbatasan yang tak menentu. Menahan diri untuk tidak saling bertemu. Keadaan memaksa kita untuk beradaptasi. Mencari cara agar semua bisa terkendali. Digitalisasi jadi cara ampuh untuk bangun strategi. Namun faktanya, masalah baru datang silih berganti. Kebebasan dianggap sebagai mimpi. Sampai kita lupa untuk saling berbagi. Kekayaan juga bukan hanya soal materi. Tapi bagaimana kita bisa menggali potensi diri? Hargai setiap yang dimiliki untuk bisa terbuka dan saling menghargai. Karena itu adalah arti kekayaan sejati. Saatnya tenangkan diri dan dengarkan isi hati, mencoba bangkit, dan terus beradaptasi agar semua rencana berjalan sesuai kehendak hati. Menjalani hari di tengah pandemi. Hidup dalam keterbatasan yang tak menentu. Menahan diri untuk tidak saling bertemu. Keadaan memaksa kita untuk beradaptasi. Mencari cara agar semua bisa terkendali. Digitalisasi jadi cara ampuh untuk bangun strategi. Namun faktanya, masalah baru datang silih berganti. Kebebasan dianggap sebagai mimpi. Sampai kita lupa untuk saling berbagi. Kekayaan juga bukan hanya soal materi. Tapi bagaimana kita bisa menggali potensi diri? Hargai setiap yang dimiliki untuk bisa terbuka dan saling menghargai. Karena itu adalah arti kekayaan sejati. Saatnya tenangkan diri dan dengarkan isi hati, mencoba bangkit dan terus beradaptasi agar semua rencana berjalan sesuai kehendak hati. Menjalani hari di tengah pandemi. Hidup dalam keterbatasan yang tak menentu. Menahan diri untuk tidak saling bertemu. Keadaan memaksa kita untuk beradaptasi. Mencari cara agar semua bisa terkendali. Digitalisasi jadi cara ampuh untuk bangun strategi. Namun faktanya, masalah baru datang silih berganti. Kebebasan dianggap sebagai mimpi. Sampai kita lupa untuk saling berbagi. Kekayaan juga bukan hanya soal materi. Tapi bagaimana kita bisa menggali potensi diri? Hargai setiap yang dimiliki untuk bisa terbuka dan saling menghargai. Karena itu adalah arti kekayaan sejati. Saatnya tenangkan diri dan dengarkan isi hati, mencoba bangkit, dan terus beradaptasi. Agar semua rencana berjalan sesuai kehendak hati.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us at Wealth Wisdom 2021, Wellness to Wealth, presented by AirAsia Cuts from Permata Bank. I am Gundi Chayadi, your moderator for today, and we have a very interesting discussion with the theme of crafting opportunities during hard times. And we are very delighted to have with us Mr. Tony Fernandez, Group CEO of AirAsia. And in my humble opinion, there is no other better person to talk about making the best during this pandemic. You know, Tony started his airline empire with just 1 Malaysian ringgit. And it's going to be great to listen to him as AirAsia makes its transformation to a digital lifestyle company. Tony, welcome, and thank you for agreeing to be here with us.
Pleasure. Good to see you, Gundi, and thank you to Permata for inviting me and being our partner. Been a tough year, but well, tough 18 months. But you know, when the tough get going, the going get tough.
That's right. So let me just start with the aviation industry, Tony. You know, obviously, if we are going to pinpoint to an industry that gets it the worst because of COVID, the aviation industry is one of them, if not the worst hit during this pandemic. And in 2020 alone, the aviation industry globally lost some 125 billion US dollars. You know, that's like a third of the size of the Singapore economy. So it's interesting, Tony. What do you think the future of the aviation industry and perhaps AirAsia as an airline in the next couple of years or so?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, actually today is a very, this period is when AirAsia started, actually, 20 years ago, 9/11. We signed a deal to take over AirAsia. on December the 8th, 2021, December the 8th, 2001, we took over AirAsia. And so this airline has been born out of a crisis and has gone through many, many crises. But let's talk about aviation first. I suppose, firstly, I don't see a massive change in the long term. Travel, we're in a globalized world. Travel is very much an important part of everyone's life. And everyone wants to travel. In the short term, I think business travel is going to be affected. I think Zoom, what we're doing now, is replacing face-to-face. And we've got used to Zoom. So I think less people will go on business trips. And I think the whole Zoom experience will get better. So the need to go on business travel will be less. Though I think it will come back. But even prior to COVID, business travel was going down anyway. So that's one change. I think in terms of testing and quarantines and all that, that'll be around for a year plus. But just like 9/11, it was very tough to get to America. It's become easier. So those will become easier. Just like security checks, we'll get used to it.
Yeah.
There'll be health checks. I think short-haul travel, I think airlines such as AirAsia will benefit tremendously. You're more likely to go to Bali than Barbados. And I think package tours will be badly affected because people don't want to get into a bus with 150 unknown people. But I think generally travel will rebound very strongly, apart from those areas. I think another area which will probably expand is private jet travel, smaller planes, more exclusive. Maybe many of your customers here who rather go to a small airport than a big airport. And so I see that happening. I see first class being closed down as well.
Okay, so Tony, it seems like you are quite optimistic that leisure tourism will go back to the pre-COVID times.
Oh, very, very optimistic. I think everyone on this Zoom call wants to go somewhere.
Yeah.
We're sick of being in Jakarta or Kuala Lumpur or Singapore. We definitely want to get out, So I'm very optimistic on that. I think we're at the beginning of the end. I think people are getting used to COVID. It's becoming endemic, that you just have to live with it. Most of our countries are doing a good job on vaccines. We know vaccines work. I think 2022 will be the start of the recovery, and 2023 will go back to a more normal world.
Yeah. I guess, personally, I really miss traveling around the region. And one of the things that I really enjoy traveling in the region is really enjoying my nasi lemak on AirAsia flights. It just tastes different on board. But interesting, Tony, I think interesting and remarkable that AirAsia was really quite quick to pivot to the digital business. You guys launched the Super App in 2020, and just this week, you said that the transformation into a digital travel and lifestyle company is completed for AirAsia. Perhaps you can share with the viewers today, the process behind it, the thoughts about it, and if this has been in the plans for some time now, or if COVID really was give that shock to AirAsia to really transform into digital.
I think that the journey started before COVID, truth be known, because I saw the Gojeks of the world, I saw Travelocas, and I saw the value that they were being ascribed versus the value that we were being ascribed. We were actually making money. They were losing tons of money, yet they were worth maybe 10 times what we were. So, and we had an asset, 2 assets, or maybe 3 assets that were as good, if not better than them. One was our data was far superior. 2, our brand was bigger. And 3, we had great people. So I started that process before COVID. We started with BigPay, which is our fintech. And we started the Super App process. But really, COVID drove it very hard because, you know, if you're sitting at home every day, it allows you to focus rather than, you know, running around with 245 planes, right? And when you have no income, you know, the income that you get from a digital business is suddenly very important, as opposed to, you know, when you're having $12 billion of sales, the digital business looks small. So definitely COVID gave us the push to really do what we've done. And when I say the transformation is complete, we now have, you know, in the digital field, 3 very strong companies, and 3 great businesses, small, but the potential to be very large soon.
And this is, I'm sure that many of us are also thinking about, you know, the focus of the Super App going forward, because there are many parts of the Super App, right? And
yeah, I'm pretty focused on 2 things first, or 3. One is travel. So we want to be like Traveloka, and we have an advantage that we own an airline. 2, the delivery business. So we want to be like Grab, deliver food, deliver beauty products, express packages, and groceries, and food delivery. So, and then the 3rd one is, you know, AirAsia has always been about inclusivity. You know, I came up with a tagline, now everyone can fly. And so we think financial wealth management is also something that needs to be accessible to everybody. And so, you know, we're going to start stockbroking and manage funds, digital currency trading, etc.
Yeah. So is this where a BigPay comes in, Tony? Is that? Yeah.
BigPay actually, I mean, the idea of BigPay is to be AirAsia Bank in another way, right? So, but you know, they're building their brand. So we put whatever BigPay has built onto the Super App as well. They have their own app, but they have the Super App, so they get the 60 million traffic as well.
And the aim is really for BigPay to be sort of the leading digital bank in ASEAN. Is that where AirAsia is heading?
I'm a dreamer, but you know, when I started 20 years ago, I said I wanted to be the ASEAN airline. I think we are. I think we're as Indonesian as we are Malaysian, as we are Thai or Filipino, or even Singaporean. So my aim is to be the ASEAN bank for inclusivity, and hopefully along the way we'll work with banks such as Permata and Bangkok Bank, etc. going forward.
Yeah. So really, I mean, one of your motto in life, I guess, is dare to dream. And it seems like when you started AirAsia, everyone can fly, and with BigPay, everyone can bank. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, everyone can bank. Everyone can feel. I think what we did with flying is, flying was only people flying on Garuda and Malaysian Airlines and Singapore Airlines, and we made flying affordable for everybody. And then others came. All the other animal airlines came, right? Tiger, lions, various birds, insects, all came. And that's all good, because we created a travel revolution, right? So that everyone can fly. And so, but how many people know about unit trusts? How many people know that they can trade in currencies or buy gold? How many people can buy a managed fund for cash? So I want to take away the complexity of investing and allow everyone to invest, allow everyone to remit money officially, not through, foreign workers sometimes go through, and many of them fly on us, go through very expensive methodologies to get money back home. And I want to make it as simple as buying an airline ticket. So take away the complexity of insurance, take away the complexity of investment, and make it an everyday product, just like we did with flying.
Tony, if you can just talk a little bit about, the food delivery service.
Yeah.
I know you guys are trying to, improve the sort of the service that Grab perhaps does in the region, in terms of making it fair to both merchants and customers, because you are big on that. AirAsia is big on, ensuring that both ends are taken care of.
Yeah, there are three ends actually, Gundi, and
three ends. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta praise you for you've really done some good research. All part.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, no, thank you. So I think there are three parts that we want to be. Number one is we're not really in the food delivery business to be in the food delivery business. We're in the food delivery business to be in the delivery business. So I don't call that part of my business e-commerce. I call it delivery. We're delivering people on ride-hailing. We're delivering food. We're delivering groceries. We're delivering makeup, beauty products, and we're delivering packages, right?
Yeah.
So food gives me the velocity because I need a lot of drivers and I need a lot of trips. Now, what is it that we can do better, right? Can we be Gojek? No. Can we have 1 million restaurants tomorrow? No. Can we be like Grab, have millions of riders and think? Maybe, but probably not. But what we can do is provide an opportunity to restaurants to treat food delivery as an extra income, not as a cost. The delivery cost is killing a lot of restaurants at 30-35%. So we only charge 15%. How do we do it? We've learned how to be low cost in 20 years in the airline business. So it's amazing, Gundi, how similar digital business is to the airline business. So we brought that over. Two is, we think drivers are treated really badly. In the same way we treated the guys who carried our bags, our cabin crew. We think that if you treat people well and you respect them and you give them careers, and as you know, some of our riders, some of our dispatch boys have become pilots. Some of our boys who carry bags have become pilots or cabin crew and engineers. So we want to give these riders better careers, treat them better. They're the most important part of the delivery. Everyone forgets that. But they're the most important. They're the guys going through the hot sun, the rain, the traffic, the irritating customers, the restaurants who deliver late. And they do it with style. So we want to build a brand with our drivers. We want to look after them, pay them the best, develop them to careers. And we know productivity will increase. If you're happy working, you're going to be doing a better job. We want them to look better. And then the third aspect is, providing customers with some variety, right? With hopefully, it's soon, Gundi, when you're in Singapore, you can order AirAsia food now, but you can also order groceries at the same time, and not have two different deliveries. We're trying to make that experience better, or your wife can order some beauty products, or you can. You have very nice skin there, so you probably use face mask from Korea. So that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to be Grab. Okay. We won't. We don't think it's an incredibly profitable business anyway. Right. But we think it's a great way to scale delivery.
Right. Okay, I'll come back to the topic about employees later on, because I think that's one big issue that many businesses face during these hard times. But let me just go back to this idea about comparing AirAsia Super App to Gojek or Goto and Grab in the region, because many analysts are saying that AirAsia is already lagging behind Gojek and Grab. What's your answer, Tony, to these?
Yeah. The answer is those are the same analysts who said I was lagging behind Garuda, Singapore Airlines, Malaysian Airlines. Right? Yeah, we're bigger now. Yeah. And there's no difference really Garuda, Singapore Airlines, MAS had lots of money, a brand that was 50 years to 70 years old. And who the hell was this one ringgit guy? Okay, so now you're sitting with all these unicorns who I think really good. You know, if Permata gave me money as much as SoftBank gives Grab, I'd be much better. I mean, you know, I think my grandmother could build Grab when you get 10 billion US dollars. So, you know, to the credit of Grab, they've implemented well. I mean, some airlines have received $10 billion and still lose money, but they've implemented well. But, you know, it's never too late. This isn't a zero-sum game, Gundi. I mean, there's 700 million people in ASEAN.
That's right.
And so we may not be the biggest, right? I mean, there's not just one bank in Indonesia. There are many banks. And it's good to be late, right? You know, many women deliberately come late for their dates. So it's not about being first and too keen. We've been able to look at what Gojek, Grab, Shopee, Foodpanda have done and taken the best bits. I didn't come out with the first low-cost airline. Southwest did.
Yeah.
EasyJet did. So by them doing all the experimentation and working and training people how to use the apps, our cost is much, much, much lower, right? We just have to look at what they built and then emulate it, right? So there are advantages in coming late to the game.
So
you know, I was very late for the airline business.
Right. So you're learning from, you know, perhaps the mistakes and what works for Gojek, what works for Grab, what don't work. And
yeah, I think the biggest thing we have is they've trained everyone, right? I had to train people on how to use the web. And people forget, those analysts who say we're late to the game, 20 years ago, no one bought airline tickets.
That's right. You guys started it. We
started it, right? We're a digital company 20 years ago. We were the first company to embrace social media. When Foodpanda was in their prime, we were doing, you know, when Foodpanda was Baby Panda, we were already selling tickets to Gundi and his wife. Right? So, you know, we know the digital world. They are great companies. I gotta say, they're a lot better than the airlines I competed against,
right?
Who were not efficient. But they're also inefficient because none of them make money. All of them have to grow by giving away their product. Permata doesn't give away its product, unfortunately. But, you know, they have to go out, market, and make profit.
Yeah.
A lot of these unicorns just grow by giving away their product. That's quite easy, right? If I every day said, I don't have to make money, I just give away my airline ticket, I can be 3 times bigger than I am, right?
Right, yeah. And what's the strategy, Tony, in Indonesia? I know, you know, the Super App is going to be big on ASEAN. And I think we like to know your strategy into Indonesia.
I think in Indonesia,
coming anytime?
Yeah, Indonesia, we've started very small. Obviously, Indonesia is a massive market. We've also want to get the airline back up running. We're in hibernation at the moment. So we've done some beauty business. We're going to do some food business soon. But we got good partners. We're friends with Gojek. You know, we have other partners that we're going to be working with. We have a lot of friends in Indonesia. So we will craft out. But I think the main area we can really grow in Indonesia is travel. There's only really Traveloka and Ticket.com. So, you know, we think we can grow in travel. We think we can do a good job in logistics. And financial products is pretty open at the moment as well. So those are 3 areas. But we'll also partner. You know, Indonesia is a continent. It's not a Malaysia or a Singapore.
Right. Okay, I'll come back to that.
If you remember, also, Gundi, when I started AirAsia, I went to places in Indonesia that no one flew.
Exactly.
No one flew to Bandung. Right. No Sriwijaya. Garuda. No one. I was the first guy to fly to Bandung. So
Yeah.
there are lots of areas in Indonesia in the Super App we believe we can be the first to do. Secondly, a lot of guys focus on the big cities. We like going into the secondary and tertiary
cities, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, we created flights from Singapore to Samarang. No one had a flight from Singapore to Samarang. So there's a lot of opportunity in the Super App, maybe less in Jakarta, but more outside.
On the secondary city. Yeah, I guess, Tony, on personal basis, I remember, I think it was probably a few months before COVID. I come from a secondary city in Indonesia called Bandar Lampung. And I met some of your AirAsia guys on a flight from Jakarta to Bandar Lampung because they were thinking, of establishing a route Bandar Lampung to KL. I think that was the plan. This was, of course, before COVID. And Tony, let me go back to AirAsia as an airline, as an employer. You are obviously well known to take care not only of your customers but also as your employees. And you talked about this earlier on, dealing with your drivers and your dispatch boys and all. How important is it to really continue to engage and support your staff during these difficult times?
Yeah, I mean, it's I've had two really difficult times in my life. One was when we lost an aircraft in Indonesia, QZ8501, which was probably the worst time of my life. And then now COVID, because in my 20 years, we've never had to make any staff redundant or furlough, etc. So it's been very, very hard. We've tried to be as transparent as possible. And my job, before I retire, is to make sure everyone is rehired again, because, they did nothing wrong. And so, we've got to find a solution to hopefully rehire everyone. It's been very, very tough because I got great staff, amazing staff, and it has been the toughest period for me to not pay them, to delay payment, sometimes to make them redundant when they did nothing wrong, and not to have answers, because I just don't know when we're going to start. So it's been a huge challenge, but I've got to say our staff have been fantastic. We have pivoted a lot of staff. We started an academy to retrain a lot of our staff.
That's right.
And, some of our best data scientists are pilots now. We have really, tried to keep them employed. But, of course, it's impossible to keep everyone employed. But hopefully, towards the end of the year, we can start rebuilding this.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about travel in Indonesia. You mentioned it about that you guys still want to keep your focus on domestic travel in Indonesia. And I know, in the past you talk a lot about creating 5 new Balis and so on. Is that, you think that's still going to?
Yeah.
Are you still optimistic about that?
My focus is actually international. We were the #1 international airline coming into Bali. We brought the most tourists to Indonesia, and that still is my focus. But obviously, we don't know when borders are going to open, etc.
Right.
So domestic is the priority at the moment. But yeah, I mean, just like you mentioned about the Super App, my goal is to make sure that we hire people. We create new opportunities. So again, in tourism or flying, we think, we were just doing a great job with Lombok. Lombok was growing. We started flights to Australia from Lombok. We think, we started Belitung. We think Raja Ampat is a huge opportunity. So Indonesia is much more than just Bali.
That's right. Yeah.
Lake Toba, Selangit, we started. So there's plenty of places we can try and develop, and we're going to continue that journey.
Okay. And I mean, so it seems like despite, this entry into the more digital services and creating all these apps, travel will remain the core of AirAsia. Am I right?
Well, I think time will tell how AirAsia, it's almost, if you look at our last results, I said AirAsia has now completed its transformation and we're now an investment holding company.
That's right. Yeah.
AirAsia Group owns an airline. It owns an engineering company.
Right.
It owns a food service company, and hopefully will open sometime in Singapore and Jakarta soon.
Yeah.
It owns a ground handling company in SATs.
Mm-hmm.
And then it owns 3 digital companies, BigPay, Teleport, and Super App.
Super
App. So, we may break that all up and have 8 different companies later on, So time will tell, but all these companies have been born out of the airline. And whether they stay together, we don't know, but whether there'll always be a link, for sure. So it's an interesting time. It's almost like, we're becoming like an alphabet in Google or an IDC, a kind of company holding, but the core principles of each company is accessibility, value, and inclusivity.
Right. So that doesn't change, right? I mean, AirAsia was born out to basically deliver the best value for travelers. And
yes.
I think that's what you're going to intend to remain focused on going forward.
Yeah.
Tony, if I may just ask, on several occasions, you also mentioned this idea of a low-cost unicorn. Again, I think you mentioned it during today's discussion about how, well, you wish you can get more funding and all that. But could you walk through us, this idea of the low-cost unicorn here?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a government airline that's been given a lot of cash. A lot of these companies, I mean, you just see Shopee is raising 6.8 billion. And they're worth, I don't know, 158 billion to go out and start in Poland and India and South America, etc. So, are they efficient? Is Grab efficient? And so we have no money really, and so we have to be efficient. And so I believe we can be the first kind of highly efficient digital provider and still grow. We may not be able to grow as much as them, but at some stage, all these companies need to make money. I'm not really sure on some of them how they're going to make money. Uber is public now. Right. It's still not profitable.
Right.
So we are in the discipline of making money. And so we have to be, we have to make sure our sales is higher than our costs.
Right.
So that's what I meant by low cost. High efficiency, much lower cost, and hopefully have the ability to have some profits.
Yeah. Right. Tony, before we end, and since we are also on the topic of wellness, and I'm sure you understand how important it is for all of us to keep sane, during this hard time. My wife and I, we both are your followers on Instagram. So what has been your favorite thing to cook during during this pandemic? We know that you cook a lot and you experiment a lot.
I've obviously have to cook nasi lemak. Obviously, I can't say it's good. The toughest thing I've tried to do, and so far I cannot match, is padang. That is my favorite food in the world.
Okay.
And I've got the rendang, or what we call rendang, right. Long way to go with the chicken and some of the other dishes. But the dish that I perfected is steak. I'm good at making steak now. And hopefully when I get out to Jakarta, I can cook for all of you in Permata for a small fee.
Thank you. I mean, obviously we look forward to borders being open again. Travel can be resumed as normal. And as you said, you are quite optimistic that things are going to start again, maybe in 2022. It's good to also know that you are still optimistic about the prospect of ASEAN in the region and about Indonesia travel as a whole. And Tony, I have many more questions to ask, but unfortunately, I think that is all the time we have. Many thanks again for sharing your valuable insights, and we wish you and AirAsia the best in the exciting phase ahead, and definitely look forward to many more of your digital services introduced in Indonesia, and perhaps more partnership with Bank Permata, Tony.
Great, really look forward to it. I want to thank everyone for having me on board. Gundi, you're a great interviewer. You asked some great questions, and thanks for your support. Thank you everyone at Permata for your support, and I hope we see each other in the flesh as opposed to blank screens. And more power to Permata, more power to Indonesia, success, and see you all very soon.
Thank you, Tony Fernandez. Obviously, Permata Bank cooperates with AirAsia through the co-brand AirAsia Platinum Credit Card and the AirAsia Credit Debit Cards. And you can collect big points faster with this credit card and the debit card, and obviously enjoy many other privileges. That's all from me today. We will have another session with Eric Thohir, Indonesian Minister of State-Owned Enterprise, right after this session. Stay tuned and stay safe.
I'm definitely more fun than Eric. On that note, take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Tony. Ciao,
Bye.
ciao. Bye-bye.